Did you know your great-grandparents might have had a job that doesn't exist anymore? Imagine waking up one day to find your profession had vanished overnight. In this video, we're stepping into a time machine to explore 13 jobs from the 1920s that have completely disappeared. From waking people up for work to lighting street lamps, these forgotten careers will make you grateful for your modern-day alarm clock and electricity. Number 1. Cigarette Girl. Picture this. It's 1925, and you've just stepped into a swanky nightclub. The air is thick with cigarette smoke, jazz music fills your ears, and laughter echoes off the walls. But something's missing. Where's that familiar face weaving through the crowd, tray balanced expertly on one hand? That's right, we're talking about the cigarette girl. These glamorous ladies were a staple of nightlife, dressed in short skirts and pillbox hats. They'd glide between tables, selling cigarettes, candies, and sometimes even perfume. Their job was more than just sales. They were part of the entertainment, adding to the club's allure. But as attitudes towards smoking changed and vending machines became more common, the cigarette girl slowly faded away. By the 1970s, they were mostly gone, taking with them a piece of nightlife history. Their disappearance marked the end of an era when clubs were smoky, glamorous, and just a little bit dangerous. 2. Lamplighter. As night falls, a lone figure emerges on the streets, armed with a long pole and a flame. But this isn't the opening of a fantasy novel. It's a glimpse into a vital job that kept cities running not too long ago. What was this mysterious profession, and why did it vanish almost overnight? Meet the lamplighter, a nightly fixture in cities across America during the 1920s. Every evening, these dedicated workers would make their rounds, lighting gas lamps that lined the streets. Using a long pole with a hook, they'd turn on the gas and light each lamp by hand. At dawn, they'd return to extinguish the flames and clean the glass. But why go through all this trouble? Before electricity became widespread, gas lamps were the primary source of street lighting. Lamplighters didn't just provide light, they were the guardians of public safety, ensuring streets were well lit to deter crime and prevent accidents. As electric street lights became more common in the 1930s, the need for lamplighters dwindled. Today, you'll only find them in a handful of historic districts, keeping this lost art alive. From lighting up streets to lighting up switchboards, our next job connected people in a whole new way. Number 3. Switchboard Operator. Imagine a world where every phone call you made had to go through a human intermediary. That was the reality for millions of Americans in the early 20th century. But what led to the disappearance of this once thriving profession? Picture a room buzzing with activity, filled with dozens of women seated at massive panels covered in blinking lights and tangled cords. These were the switchboard operators, the unsung heroes of early telecommunications. Their job? To physically connect your call by plugging wires into the right jacks when a light flashed, indicating someone had picked up their phone. It wasn't just about connecting calls, though. These operators needed lightning-fast reflexes, exceptional multitasking skills, and the patience of a saint to manage multiple conversations at once. But perhaps most importantly, they needed to be women. Number 4. Ice cutter. Picture this. It's the dead of winter, and a group of men are sawing through thick ice on a frozen lake. No, they're not ice fishing. They're harvesting ice for a booming industry that would soon melt away. What made this dangerous job so essential, and why did it disappear? Before refrigerators became household staples, ice cutters were the unsung heroes of food preservation. These brave souls would wait for at least a foot of ice to form on lakes and rivers before venturing out. Armed with massive saws and tongs, they'd carve out enormous blocks of ice, each weighing hundreds of pounds. But why go to such extreme lengths for frozen water? Well, this ice was a hot commodity, pun intended. It was shipped across the country and even exported to warmer climates. People relied on it to keep their food fresh and their drinks cool during the sweltering summer months. Number 5. Elevator Operator. Picture yourself in a bustling 1920s hotel. As you approach the elevator, you're greeted not by a panel of buttons, but by a uniformed attendant. This wasn't just for show. These skilled workers were essential for your safety. But how did such a common job become obsolete? Early elevators were complex machines controlled by levers that regulated speed and stopping. Operators needed steady hands and keen eyes to ensure a smooth ride. They'd carefully judge the elevator's position, slowing it down just right to line up with each floor. And let's not forget the manual doors. Opening and closing them was part of the job too. As skyscrapers reached new heights, elevator operators became symbols of luxury and service. Their crisp uniforms and polite demeanor added a touch of class to every ride. At the profession's peak, a whopping 100,000 operators kept America's elevators running smoothly. Number 6. Trolley Drive, horse-drawn trolley. Imagine a world where your morning commute depended on the mood of a 200-pound animal. For decades, that was the reality for millions of city dwellers. But how did horse-drawn trolley drivers manage to keep an entire transportation system running smoothly, and what led to their eventual extinction? Picture this. It's 1920, and the streets are filled with the clip-clop of hooves. Horse-drawn trolleys were the backbone of urban transportation, carrying passengers along fixed routes just like modern buses. These trolleys weren't just quaint relics, they were vital lifelines connecting neighborhoods and powering city economies. Driving a horse-drawn trolley was no easy feat. It required a unique blend of skills, part animal whisperer, part tour guide, and part traffic controller. Drivers had to expertly handle their equine partners, navigating crowded streets while collecting fares and calling out stops. They faced all sorts of challenges, from spooked horses to impatient passengers. Number 7. Typist, manual typewriter. Picture this. You're in a 1920s office surrounded by the cacophony of clacking keys. But there's something missing. No computer screens, no printers, just rows of people hunched over mysterious machines. What were these devices, and how did they revolutionize the workplace? Let's wind back the clock and explore the fascinating world of manual typewriter operators. The office is alive with the rhythmic clacking of keys and the ding of carriage returns. But where are the screens? And how do they fix typos? Turns out they don't. Manual typewriter operators had to be incredibly skilled and accurate. A single mistake often meant starting the entire page over from scratch. These typewriter wizards needed lightning-fast fingers, excellent spelling, and the ability to maintain a steady rhythm. They also had to master the art of changing ribbons and troubleshooting jammed keys. It wasn't just about speed, it was about precision and endurance. Typewriters didn't just change how we wrote, they transformed the workplace, especially for women. Suddenly, there was a flood of new office jobs that didn't require physical labor. Women entered the workforce in droves, becoming the backbone of many businesses as skilled typists. Number 8. Film projectionist, silent movies. Ever wonder why old movies look so jittery and fast? It wasn't just the film. There was an entire art form happening behind the scenes. Let's step into the shadowy booth of a silent film projectionist and uncover the hidden magic that brought those flickering images to life. In a dimly lit room, a lone figure hunches over a complex machine, carefully threading delicate film through its gears. This is the silent film projectionist, a maestro of motion pictures. Wait, where's the sound? And why is everyone on screen moving like they've had too much coffee? Here's the kicker. Projectionists didn't just push a button and walk away. They manually cranked the film, controlling its speed. Too slow, and the audience would fall asleep. Too fast, and you'd have a comedy on your hands, even if it was supposed to be a drama. These skilled workers were part technician, part artist, timing each scene perfectly to match the mood. But that's not all. Remember, these were silent films. So, while the projectionist worked their magic upstairs, a live band or organist played downstairs, following cue sheets to match the on-screen action. It was a delicate dance of sight and sound, with the projectionist as the choreographer. Number 9. Rag and Bone Man, any old iron. The call echoes down cobblestone streets, but this isn't just another peddler. It's the sound of an unsung hero in the battle against waste, long before reduce, reuse, recycle became a mantra. Let's uncover the fascinating world of the rag and bone man and his vanished trade. But why would anyone want to buy other people's junk? Well, these enterprising individuals were actually pioneers of early recycling. They'd push their carts through neighborhoods, collecting all sorts of discarded materials, rags, bones, old furniture, and metal scraps. Nothing was too small or insignificant for the rag and bone man. These items weren't destined for the dump, though. The rags might find new life at paper mills, while bones could be processed into glue. Even those rusty bits of metal had value, melted down and reforged into something new. It was a circular economy before we had a name for it. The rag and bone man's job wasn't easy. It required a keen eye for hidden treasures and the strength to push a heavily laden cart for miles. But they often became familiar faces in their communities, developing relationships that help them sniff out the best finds. Number 10. Milkman. Picture this. It's dawn in 1920s America, and a familiar sound echoes through the neighborhood. But this isn't your average delivery. It's a lifeline that kept entire communities running. What made the milkman so essential, and why did this once crucial job practically disappear overnight? The clinking of glass bottles signals the arrival of the milkman, a daily ritual for 80% of American households. But why go through all this trouble when you could just buy milk at the store? Well, back then, you couldn't. Without widespread refrigeration, fresh milk was a daily necessity. Our milkman didn't just drop off a bottle and dash. He was part milkman, part traveling grocery store. Butter, cheese, eggs, even bread. He had it all. And let's not forget the social aspect. In an era before Facebook, the milkman was the neighborhood's unofficial newswire, sharing gossip and checking in on elderly residents. Number 11. Soda jerk. Picture this. A bustling soda fountain, the heart of small-town America. Behind the counter stands a magician in a paper hat, ready to concoct a potion that'll make your taste buds dance. But what made these carbonated craftsmen so special? And why did they vanish faster than the bubbles in your glass? Soda jerks weren't just drink makers. They were the unofficial mayors of Main Street. With a flick of the wrist, they'd mix up custom sodas that'd knock your socks off. Cherry phosphate? Coming right up. Root beer float? You got it. These guys knew everyone's favorite combos and could whip up a new creation faster than you could say fizz. But soda fountains were more than just places to grab a drink. They were where you caught up on gossip, met your sweetheart, or celebrated after the big game. The soda jerk was part bartender, part therapist, and all entertainment. So, what burst their bubble? Fast food joints and bottled sodas, that's what. Why wait for a custom drink when you could grab a Coke and go? As drive-thrus took over, soda jerks fizzled out. But their legacy lives on in every frothy milkshake and bubbly soda we enjoy today. Number 12. Hat blocker. In an era when a man's hat was his crowning glory, one profession stood between social triumph and fashion disaster. Let's uncover the mysterious world of hat blockers and discover why this once essential job went extinct faster than you can say fedora. Picture a steamy workshop, thick with the scent of felt and wood. A skilled artisan carefully molds a piece of felt over a wooden form, shaping it with practiced hands. But why all this fuss for a simple hat? Well, back in the day, your headwear spoke volumes about your social status and personal style. A well-fitted hat could make or break your look, and that's where the hat blocker came in. These craftsmen were the unsung heroes of the fashion world, creating and maintaining custom hats for discerning gentlemen. They used specialized tools and techniques to shape felt into perfect crowns, steam and reshape old hats, and even repair damaged ones. It was an art form that required patience, skill, and an eye for detail. Number 13. Chimney sweep. Imagine a job where getting cancer was an occupational hazard and your co-workers were often elementary school aged. Welcome to the world of 19th century chimney sweeping, where danger lurked in every flue. Picture a tiny figure, no older than 5, emerging from a chimney. Covered in soot but grinning, this little sweeper just risked their life for a few pennies. But why? These pint-sized workers were the unsung heroes of fire prevention. Back then, chimney fires caused about 20% of all house fires in cities. Without regular cleaning, soot buildup could spell disaster for a family home. But the cost was steep. Sweeps faced brutal working conditions and severe health risks. Breathing in soot led to lung problems, while the constant contact with it caused a nasty form of cancer. It's no wonder that public outcry eventually sparked change. As heating tech improved and child labor laws kicked in, the days of kid sweepers thankfully came to an end.